Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's episode, we're going to be taking a closer look at this thing, the Ergodex DX1 input system keyboard macro pad device that I recently unboxed in this episode of viewer donations. This was very generously sent to me by Snooze. I want to thank you very much once again. And this is just a really interesting and kind of odd device. It is an input system. It's not really a keyboard, it's more of a macro pad, but I use that term kind of loosely because this is quite large for a macro pad. And let's just open this up here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is how large the thing is. It's about the size of a piece of paper. In fact, let me just get a piece of paper here. And you can see what I'm talking about. I mean, this thing is kind of large. When you think of macro pads, you usually think of really small and kind of compact devices. So that's why this really stood out to me. But this is a really customizable input device. You've got these 1 through 25 DX1 keys here that you can adhere to anywhere on this surface. So this wonderful slab of plastic comes to us from the year 2005, where it sold for $150. But again, this is not really a keyboard at all. I mean, it has keys that you adhere to this board, but you only got 25 of them. However, you could opt to get an additional 25 keys. If we take a look at the box here, there is this box to check that says additional key set 26 through 50. So you could opt to purchase this, as well as an additional key tray, additional key labels. And yeah, so you did have some accessories that you could get for this thing. You also got, of course, and it's kind of neat that this is still in here, all the paperwork, the limited warranty here. You've got this thing, which is your health and safety information, which tells you, don't try to eat the keys or whatever. You got a quick start guide, which takes you through how to set everything up, which we'll get into in a moment. And you also have, what I think is pretty cool, you've got these 2 sheets of labels. Now, one of them, they're already printed on here, so you've got the entire English alphabet, you've got some symbols, some really interesting symbols as well, like you got guns, you got ammo, you got emoticons, you've got a dude squatting and running and a grenade and chess piece, like just all random stuff, right? So, you definitely had like varying things that you could use this for, but you could also make your own labels as well, and that's what this blank sheet is for. So setting this up is very interesting to me because I've not really seen a keyboard or an input device function like this before. So all the keys here are numbered, so I've got key number 25, and on the bottom of all of them you've got this sticky adhesive layer that all you do is you just put it anywhere on the surface here. You have to make sure that this plastic cover is attached to it first, because that's what the keys actually stick to. And the included software, as you're going to see in a minute here, will always recognize, for example, this key here as number 15, regardless of where it is placed on the surface, which I think is really cool. So, you can set this up however you want, and that I just find very odd and intriguing and interesting. I think this was certainly designed with accessibility use in mind, because I could see this being very, very useful for accessibility purposes, but that is certainly not the only application. I mean, I could see people using this for design work or a game like World of Warcraft that would benefit from using a lot of macros. In fact, Ergodex even encouraged you to take off the top plastic layer here, so it just separates like that. And you could add in like a nice backdrop, maybe a screenshot from a video game. We're of course going to use a really nice image here that I just printed out. So we can set that up there, and then we can just take our plastic piece here, and boom, there we go. So yeah, really, really awesome, just aligned perfectly up there, just love that. And yeah, so I mean, you can, the possibilities are endless with this thing. You've got this tiny little PCB in there with a gold contact, and then right here, you've got this piece of silicone or rubber, whatever you want to say, and then you've got that gold contact there. And it just, just goes on, and then they just make contact, and that's how it works. It's very simple. The keys honestly are not, I mean, I use a mechanical keyboard every day, so I mean, whenever I use something that's not mechanical, I kind of feel like bleh. but you know, it's not, again, this is not a keyboard. You're not going to be typing on this all the time. So we're just going to get right to it. We're going to plug this thing into the trusty Dell Latitude D610 because this is from the XP era, so we might as well use an XP era machine. And we'll install the software and we'll check it out with a few video games and other Windows software. So the first thing we're going to do is install the Ergodex suite, which contains the software and the driver that will actually allow this thing to work with the computer. So when you run the setup wizard, it asks you to not have the Ergodex plugged in, which we don't, so we're going to continue here. Now, this software would have been on the CD. And as you probably saw, I don't have the CD, but luckily I was able to find a copy of this setup executable online, so we're going to roll with it. And we've got it installed, so we should be able to plug the USB cable into the computer now. And Windows should be able to find the driver here, so we're going to not bother with that. Install software automatically, and there we go. Now when we run the Ergodex Manager, this is the software where you manage all of the key mappings and macros and all that. It's first going to say there's no user, so we're going to make a new user here, so I'll put in my name. And it crashed. Oh, isn't that... Okay, we're off to a wonderful start here. Okay, there we go. So it just crashed. I opened it back up. It says you do not have any profiles for this user. A global profile will now be generated automatically. So, and it, oh my god, it crashed again? What the? Okay, when I ran this in a VM, I didn't have... Okay. Hang on a second. Oh, jeez. Yeah, so it turns out that for whatever reason, the Dell Latitude D610 does not want to cooperate today and install the driver properly. So, we're back to using a virtual machine, which is where I did initial testing for this thing. So we've got the Ergodex Manager software over here, and we're going to open it up, and you can see at the bottom it will say pad status connected because we've got the Ergodex DX1 plugged in, and if I press key number 12 here, for instance, you'll see that it will press on the program here. So I've got keys number 12 through 15 here. So we got 12, 13, 14, 15 just scattered around here. And you can see as I press them, the software will indicate that it's, that, hey, I can see these are being pressed. And again, as I mentioned, you can move these around however you want. All you have to do if you want to take off a key is take it off. So if I take off key number 12 and I move it over here and set it down and then press it, it's just like it never moved to the program. It doesn't really matter, again, where it is. And I think that's really, really cool how it's able to, you know, figure out which key is which. Now, you can probably see that I'm taking these off. I'm kind of twisting it to the side here. That is the way you're supposed to take these off. They don't want you just to rip them up because that could actually damage the adhesive layer that, you know, adheres the key to the board. So they just tell you to kind of twist it to the right or to the left, and that slowly loosens the adhesive, and then it can come off nicely. And they do recommend cleaning. You can see this layer here, for example, is, you know, there's a little bit of grime and crap on it that you may want to clean off. And they just recommend just literally just dabbing it with some water, and that will clean a lot of that off and, you know, help it to adhere better. But it still adheres just fine. So again, I can press it down here, and that ain't coming off unless I twist it. And again, I can press key number 12 and it shows up. Now, if you couldn't already tell, this program is where we set up the macros and configure everything the way that we want. And what's really cool is you can have separate macro sets for each application on your computer. And that's what this drop-down menu up here is to indicate. So there is a global setting, but for example, if I want to switch over to Explorer here, and it'll say it has no macros. Do you want to add macros to the profile? We'll say yes, and then it'll come up with the create new macro wizard. So let's say when I have Explorer open, I want key number 12 to do Alt F4. Say I just want to make a quick close shortcut. So we'll call this close. We'll make it a multi-key macro, and we'll leave the category as recorded macros. We can add a macro description if we want. We'll click on finish, and all you have to do is press the key combination that you want. So I'm going to press Alt and then F4 and then let go of Alt. Now you have to do it that way. Like if you just press Alt and let go of it, it's going to register both that you're pressing and letting go of it. So it's not going to register that as like an Alt plus F4. It'll just press Alt and then F4. So you want to make sure that when you're actually setting it, you hold down Alt and then press F4 and then let go of Alt. So there you go. So we'll click on accept changes, and now I can just drag this here to key number 12, And there we go. Now, when you have the Ergodex Manager open and you try to press a key here, it's not going to do anything. And that's even if you're on the global setting here. So if I go back to global here, and let's say that I want to drag, this is a task manager one that I just created. See, I got it set to 25 here. Actually, let me, I don't even have key 25 on here. So let me grab key number 25 and I'll add that on. I could change it to another key, but we'll just grab key number 25 there. We'll set it here. And you can see when I press that, nothing happens. So when this program is running, it doesn't allow any of the macros to be performed. So if I close out of this here and then press key 25, it will open up Task Manager. Now again, so let's say that I've got Task Manager open here and I try to use that key for Alt F4 on number 12 here. It's not going to do anything. That's because I got to be in Windows Explorer. So let's say that I want to go to Internet Explorer here. And you can see it's already given us some pre-made macros here, which are, specific to this program. So let's say that I want, let's say view history. Let's say I want to drag that over to key number 13. Let's say I want to make number 12 the refresh macro. And let's say we want full screen. Let's drag that over to number 14. So now I can just close out of this and we'll go to Internet Explorer here. And let's just go to the oldnet.com here. So we get not.copum. We want to go to .com, so we'll just have something pulled up here. Yes, IE8, I know. So we'll get out of that. And so now if I press key 12, it's going to refresh the page. You can see the refresh indicator there as I'm doing it. And press 13, opens up history, and pressing it again will just, it's not going to close it. You have to get up here, and we'll close out of that. And key number 14 will make it full screen. This one, in this case, because pressing F11 will, if you're in full screen, take you out of full screen. There you go. So yeah, that's really how simple it is, and there's just a lot of customizability. I keep saying that, but there is. There's just really there's just a lot of customizability potential here, especially if you put all of the keys on, which we could. I guess we could do that here. Why not? So let's just grab all the keys and just set them out here, just randomly, just in no order at all. Obviously, if you were going to use this seriously, well, you would want to set everything up so it would make sense, in a layout that would be, sensible. But we're just gonna layer everything out, or lay everything out, just in a completely random way here. There might be some wireless sensor or something in here that's making contact with something in the tablet. It just really feels like magic, just seeing this thing work. I think that just also adds to the appeal of it. But yeah, I've got all 25 keys just scattered around here in a massive cluster. You can see how crazy the program goes, and I just mash my hand on them here. So now we're gonna get into some gaming with this thing, which is just gonna be really funny because we're not gonna use all these keys, but but whatever, we're just doing it. We're not doing World of Warcraft or anything. No, we're doing the best video game of all time, Big Rigs Over the Road Racing. Just a classic game, amazing storyline, wonderful graphics, amazing controls. The sound design is impeccable. Yeah, if you haven't heard of this game, you may want to go watch a couple YouTube videos about it, mainly just one. So I believe it's been a while since I've messed around with this, to be honest, but we're going to go ahead and add a new profile. And we're going to browse for an exe on our computer. Now you could also import macros from an existing profile if you wanted, but we're just going to make a new one here. Just a new blank profile. So there we go. And let's say we want to set up a little set of arrow keys here at the very top left of this thing. So we'll got key 12 here. We'll move key number 20 right here. Key number 7. Yeah, this is going to be really convoluted. And key number 8. So there you go, you got a little set of arrow keys. So number 12, we're just going to set that. We're going to add a new macro. We'll call this up. I believe this uses the arrow keys, if I'm not mistaken. So recording a single key macro is exactly the same as a multi-key macro, just with one key. So we're going to use keyboard, up arrow key, there you go. So we'll drag up to number 12, and there we go. Now watch this be WASD instead of arrow keys. So we'll close out of that. We'll open up Big rigs over the road racing. So we're gonna go to custom race. We're gonna be oh gee, Thunderbolt. Yeah, that's who we want to be. And we'll go with oh well, Night Ride just causes the game to crash. I remember that. So we're not gonna, oh gosh. So we're not gonna actually, let's do random race. Let's just have it just set everything for us. And there we go. Yes, it is arrow keys. Woo! So there we go, guys. Oh my gosh. Isn't this game just amazing? You know, it's really, really incredible. Again, the sound design, I mean, listen to this soundtrack, man. It's utterly impeccable. Like, literally, there's some game developers that could take notes of this, that's for sure. Especially everybody's favorite feature, the travel at light speed in reverse once it slows all the way down. And here we go. Get ready to travel at the speed of light. I haven't messed around with this in a while, but it's still just as funny as it was back then. Oh my god. It's so stupid. And then the best part is, of course, as soon as you let go of the arrow key, you come to an immediate stop. It's so bad. Okay, by the way, this was a real, like, if you don't know, this video game was sold for money. Like, you had to pay for this. That's how absurd that this is. The people actually charged for this. There you go. I mean, that, you know, you can set up your arrow keys there. All right, now getting back to the program here. You probably saw when I was making a macro. Let's just go back in here to add new macro. You got a couple other options here. You've got text block macro. So let's say that I want to just make this, you know, a letter here, Michael MJD. Wonderful. So did you notice my mistake there? I made this macro under Explorer, so it's not going to be under global here. The way that the global macros work, say number 16 here is Open Explorer, and then if I go to Internet Explorer, let's make number 16 refresh. So if there is a macro for the specific program, it will take precedence. So if I open up IE here and we press key number 16, it will refresh the page. But if I were to take it off here and assign it to number 11, and then we do key number 16, that will open Explorer. So that's how that works. Now this is where you see we've got some different categories under the global macro setting. So we're gonna set this to user created macros. We'll accept changes, and let's set that to number 1. So now if I go to Notepad here, and I find key number 1, which is right here, boom, there you go, types it all out. And of course, the last macro type, if we go to add here, is program/file/URL. So let's make this, I want to open up Microsoft Bob, if I can. Why can I not spell today? Microsoft Bob, because I have that installed on here on Windows XP. Program or file to open. So you got URL launch or file launch. We're gonna do file launch in this case. We'll set that, boom, there we go, accept changes. So now let's set key number 6 here to Microsoft Bob. Now again, when I've got the Ergodex program opened up, it won't do anything. I gotta close out of it. And then, boom, there we go. Launches Microsoft Bob, just like that. And then let's say, let's just tab out of this here and go back. Let's say that because Microsoft Bob is such an amazing program, that I want to be able to close it immediately after I open it. Let's add that to key number 13 here. And there we go. So now I can close Microsoft Bob, and then I can reopen it. So I can just play this game of opening it and closing it. Open it and close it. Open, close, open, close. You can immediately close it and just do this over and over again. I think I'm in trouble now because it's not responding to Alt F4. What just happened? Oh, that's just the background screwing up. Now, one more thing worth mentioning. This is really being like a Steve Jobs thing. I'm saying boom and one more thing. These buttons up here at the top right, this top one will open up the Ergodex Manager program from wherever you are. So I can open up, you know, big rigs again here and press that, and it'll minimize that and open up the program. So you got quick access to that. Then you got this record button, and what this lets you do is make a macro on the fly. So let's just use Windows Explorer as an example. And let's say I want to map a key combination to press Alt F, which will open up the file menu. So all I do is I press the record button here, and it starts playing this metronome in the background. You can hear that ticking. and that just indicates that it's recording. So I'll press Alt-F and let go, and then I just hit the key that I want to assign it to. So you heard that clunking sound there, and that just assigned it to key 15. Then I just get out of record mode by pressing the button again, and now when I press key 15, it presses Alt-F. Just like that. Very simple. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. It's very intuitive, very simple to set up. The only thing, again, is that it's freaking huge. Like, setting this up on your desk next to your keyboard is just, it's not going to work for everybody. It's not going to work in everybody's setup. But I think for what it is, it's pretty cool, pretty unique. I've personally not seen really anything specifically like this before, and that's what really intrigued me when Snooze reached out and said, hey, I want to send this to you, and I was like, I have no idea what that is, but when I looked into it, it looked pretty cool. So yeah, if you want to send it to me, that would be awesome. So thank you once again to Snooze for your very generous donation, and thanks to all of you guys for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.